The New York Times is reporting on a growing number of U.S. colleges that are now turning their student athletes into social media stars. So at the University of North Carolina, for example, at Chapel Hill, the athletic department encourages students to work with companies that will help them reach fame and hence money. Wow. So the question is, should schools be in this business of helping their athletes score these big brand deals? What do we think?
Why does this make me feel so funny then? I think I would like this story more if it were for professional athletes. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's their job. That would be a big help for them, especially for female athletes who we know get paid quite a bit less. But for student athletes, I don't know, there's part of me that just wants them to be able to just student. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just work on school, play their sport, but this seems like another job and a great deal of stress on what should be, I think, that very specific time in life where you don't have to, you have the rest of your life to do that.
I don't want to sound Pollyanna-ish towards you,
no,
but
I love.
that horse left the barn a long time ago, especially in the States. Student athletes, that is a full-blown business. That's been happening for decades. If you look at what happened in the NCAA.
Student musicians and student artists, though? Are they doing that as well?
I don't know that they're leveraging their monetary
it's not the same. It's not the same following.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not the same access.
Because I also think there is an age generational thing here. I think the idea of online life, that's a non-negotiable for any young person in 2025.
For sure.
I think that, and you don't have to be an athlete. You can just be someone in your basement doing YouTube.
But if you're okay with this, hear me out.
If you're interested in that, I'm just.
Because you're on the show too, not just me. Sometimes I get excited. Sorry. Continue.
But like, if you're interested in that and you're an athlete, shouldn't you just go and get an agent or a manager to manage that? Like, why is the school getting involved?
That's what I was. That's it.
I hear what you're saying, but if you know the history of the NCAA, who was taking advantage of student athletes for decades, and literally, you could, if you stayed in a friend of the family's house, you could lose your whole scholarship over that. The rules were so ridiculous. So the fact that they're actually just accepting and allowing student athletes to make money now, it's a much better situation. And I think it actually has a pro, because let's be real, all of these kids are hearing that their peers are making millions of dollars, right? But think about it. You have to go to school, you have to focus on your sport, and now you also have contracts to go over for these opportunities, brand opportunities. It's perfect to have a person who's a liaison for the school, because the school has to look out, because the school's still like, yo, you belong to us. You're not here, you're here for free, but you are paying for it by being on these teams. So we do need to have someone who has our vested interest look out for these students and what contracts that they're signing, because the average 17-year-old kid who hasn't ever had to deal with a business contract does need that middle person.
I just want to clarify,
I think it makes sense.
The school would have them, the student, in their best interest. Wouldn't that be a position?
I just want to clarify, because the article specifically says the school is not the agent.
No. Okay.
The school has said, here is this person that we would recommend you work with. And so there is an agency that technically the school is not part of. However, isn't there a slippery slope?
Yeah.
Are they getting
what
kickbacks?
if all of a sudden you're a star athlete and you start to have real problems with your coach? Can you start messaging about that on Instagram? And what's going to happen?
You get in the portal, you go to another school.
But here's the thing. It's possible, but I do ask the same question, which is, who starts to police what you can and cannot do? And is the school, even though they're not technically your agent, do they get a say? And I think that's where it can become a little bit slippery, right?
Well, it's a new thing. It's called the general manager. A lot of schools, Duke was the first one to start this. A lot of schools are now hiring people. Listen, Nike executives are leaving their jobs to take these general manager jobs because there's so much money in it. First, to be a general
athlete.
To be general manager at the college, which is you're the liaison between the school and the students to help them navigate this new world.
And hopefully to help them navigate keeping their grades up.
I love that you think they're going to class and writing their papers. Of course they are. Of course they are.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.